Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Sports Universe tournament selection here. As we have March Madness, it's right around the corner. Today is Wednesday. The games start tomorrow. Want you to give my picks. I've been following a lot of college basketball this year. I've consumed a ton of content, whether that be film, looking at KenPom statistics, and I think I've put together a pretty good bracket here. But of course, March Madness is March Madness for a reason. So, what's to happen? Nobody knows, but going right into my picks, not to waste your guys' time. First game that we have is Gonzaga and Georgia State, looking over on the west side of the regions. I'm going with Gonzaga in this one. I do think Georgia State is a pretty good team. I think they're pretty well balanced, but Gonzaga is going to overpower them here. I do think Georgia State's not really a 16 seed. I'd probably put them at maybe like a 14. Either way, Gonzaga, I think, is going to take this one pretty handily. I don't think it's going to be in much jeopardy. However, I believe the spread's like a 23.5-point spread. If you guys wanted to take Georgia State on that spread, I think it might be more like a 10 to 15-point game here. Either way, Gonzaga's taking it. I don't think it's really in jeopardy. Moving forward, we have Memphis and Boise State. I like Boise State. I think they're really well balanced again. A good group of veterans here against a pretty good, sizable Memphis team. Memphis is always athletic. They started off the season pretty terribly. I believe they went 10-10 to start the season. And they've kind of picked it up towards late. But I like Boise State this one. One thing that I really like, a team is a mindset, right? We're looking at how well can they play defense. Do we have a lot of veterans on the team? How good is the coaching? And I think Boise State upsets as an 8 seed Memphis in this one without a doubt. This one could be either way, rather, but I do like Boise State in that particular matchup. UConn versus New Mexico State. I'm going UConn here. I like the balance they have, especially with RJ Cole at point guard. Sanogo at center he's been a beast all year in the Big East. As you guys know, I go to Nova, so he was tough for us to take down, and I really like him over New Mexico State here. They've been a pretty solid team this year, but I think UConn's got to beat pretty well. This one's a fantastic matchup, and I think going forward, looking at Arkansas, Vermont here, I don't know which team is going to win this one, to be honest. Arkansas has been fantastic all year. They play a great pace. Vermont, coming out of their conference has been extremely efficient. Statistically, they're off the charts, but obviously they come from a mid-major. So that being said, I'm going to go to Arkansas on this one, although I could see Vermont taking this one. I think if Vermont wins this, right, they upset Arkansas. In this, I could see them upsetting UConn too, and then making their way, past the round of 32 into the Sweet 16. If that's the case, that's one of the teams that's one of those upset watches. I think they can make some sort of a run in the tournament. However, I do think Arkansas is better. I think they're going to take this one, not by a lot. So moving on, we have Alabama Rutgers. Obviously, they haven't played yet. I do like Rutgers in this matchup. Notre Dame is pretty solid. Either way, I don't really care who the team is. Alabama's been extremely inconsistent this year. I'm going with whatever team comes out of it to upset Alabama, particularly because Alabama's lost 3 of their last 4 games. And they play really sloppy. I think in the tournament, their team's going to fall apart. They don't play great defense. Offensively, their offense pretty much comes from spreading the floor and running a high pick and roll and trying to chuck up threes. And the games they go in, they're super hot. They win, as they have an upset over Gonzaga. Wins like that have really made the difference here. However, I don't think that works in the tournament. And they've lost 3 of their last 4, so I'm taking whatever team comes out of that Rutgers Notre Dame game. I do believe it's going to be Rutgers. I think they have better wins, a couple more quad wins than Notre Dame on the year. I believe Notre Dame's games mostly came off of quad 3, quad 4 wins. So I'm definitely taking Rutgers in this one. If I had to pick, and then I'm going to go Rutgers over Alabama. Going on, Montana State, fantastic on offense. But Texas Tech is probably the second best defense in the country, maybe third, possibly first if you're looking beyond metrics. But I love this Texas Tech team. Again, fantastic on defense, and I think one of those teams that make a run in the tournament. Stay tuned to see where I have them going. But next, we have Michigan State and Davidson. This one is a complete toss-up. I think it's another 50-50 game. Whatever you guys want to choose in your bracket, go ahead and do so. I have a couple brackets with 50-50 on this one, but the brackets that I'm putting, I think, real money on, I'm going to go with Tom Izzo and Michigan State. I think with that type of coaching and this type of even matchup, again, Davidson's really efficient, great 3-point shooting team as always. I think that Tom Izzo's going to learn how to shut them down and skin this one alive to get onto the next round. Next game, we have Duke, CSU Fullerton. I don't love Duke, but I do think they beat Fullerton in this matchup. So that completes our West region through the round of 64. Moving on from there, we'll move down to the East. Looking at the East, Baylor back as a 1 seed. Don't love them this year. They haven't played overly well towards the second half of the season. Obviously, in that first half of the season, they were fantastic, I think. Obviously, as a Nova fan, they've shut us down in the earlier half of the season. I mean, I'm talking, what do we have, 36 points throughout the entire game. Pretty bad there, although I don't think Norfolk State really puts up a competition here against Baylor. So, not much to say else about that. You guys are really here for the first seeds being 16 seeds anyway. That being said, moving forward, North Carolina Marquette. Marquette has been pretty good throughout the Big East, especially the first half of the season. Around midseason, I think they peaked. They haven't really been great since then. They had 2 upsets over Villanova. Other than that, I think Lewis has been pretty solid for them. But I like how North Carolina is playing as of late. Obviously, they beat Coach K in his last home game. And they've been playing really well. They did well in the ACC tournament. I'm liking how they're playing. They're playing as a pretty good team right now. Obviously, they're very athletic. So I like them in this matchup. I'm going to take North Carolina, in about 9 out of 10 times I do a bracket with this one because I just like how they're playing right now. Moving forward from there, St. Mary's, Indiana, great win, Indiana last night over Wyoming, pretty convincing. However, I do like St. Mary's in this one. They play fantastic defense. They really know how to slow down the ball. I think when they force teams to play their brand of basketball, they have a very good chance of winning. As we see with Gonzaga, Gonzaga likes to play fast. A lot of oops, dump it to Timmy, dump it to Holmgren, let them work. And when St. Mary's limited that, they come out with a victory against Gonzaga, who's, BPI number 1, KenPom number 1. So I think they're really solid. And I don't think they got the best of draws here, which I'll explain in a second, but I do like St. Mary's over Indiana in this one. Moving forward, UCLA Akron, I don't think this was competition. UCLA, and I'll say this now, moving forward so you guys know, I think UCLA is probably the worst seeded team in the entire bracket. They're not a 4 seed. This team is easily a 3 seed, if not a 2 seed. Obviously, being in the Pac-12, they kind of got the short end of the stick and where their seeding fell. Lost a couple tough games this year, but again, they have some really good wins too. Again, as a Villanova fan, I talk a lot about Villanova fan, also a Villanova student, but, talking from our perspective, they beat us by 9 in an OT game. I love what they have between Jacquez, Tiger Campbell, obviously Johnny Juzang. They bring back the entire squad from last year that made the Final Four with a little bit more experience. They were an 11 seed last year. They're a 4 seed this year, and I think they're one of those teams that can make a really big run. And as a 4 seed, they're going to be really under the radar. Moving on from there, Texas versus Virginia Tech. Big upset here. I'm taking Virginia Tech. Texas has not played great as of late. Their body language is not fantastic. Watching a couple of their game films after watching a couple of videos. I just want to check up on Texas. They really have not gone far in the tournament in a very long time. They've been first round outs, I believe, 2-3 years in a row now. I forget how many it was. And Virginia Tech just won the ACC. They're probably one of the hottest teams in the country right now, playing very well. The statistic that I saw, I forget who it was by. It was on ESPN, and it said that the top 2 BPI 11 seeds make a run in the tournament every year, and Virginia Tech is one of those. The other is Michigan, and I like this Virginia Tech team. They play fast, and they've done a nice run in the ACC tournament. So I got to pick them in this situation, without a doubt. Going on from here, we have Purdue and Yale. I'm going Purdue. Not much to say here. Yale's all right. They come out of the Ivy League. Ivy League never really doesn't do much almost every year. Some years they do 1 runs, but don't really love this Yale team. Purdue's very good. Jaden Ivey is one of a kind player, will be a top 5 pick in the draft. I'm going to move on to the next round. Although Purdue, I think they do have a little bit lack on the defensive side of the ball. They squirt you on offense though. And Edey's pretty solid. Don't really love Edey. He's tall, but he does provide that paint presence that you would need. But just because he has a good height doesn't mean he's a fantastic shot blocker in it. I've seen teams beat them inside. He's not quite a Taco Fall that we saw from UCF a couple years ago, where he was pretty dominant inside with his height. That being said, Purdue moves on to the next round. Murray State, San Francisco, I think 2 very well-matched teams here. And honestly, I don't really know which one to pick. I have them kind of wishy-washy 50-50 in a couple of my brackets, but I'm going to go Murray State in this one just because of John Morant. That's the best I can do with that one. Also, I love their record. I think they're like 30-4. They played really solid basketball this year, although San Francisco could easily beat them in this one. I really don't know where this one's going to go. But I do like Murray. I'm going to go with Murray State just because, honestly. We have Kentucky and St. Peter's. I'm going to go with Kentucky in this one. Kentucky is a really well-balanced team. They're one of those teams that could really make a deep run in this tournament. And, I really like them. I don't think if any two seeds going to get upset like we saw like an Oral Roberts from last year, I don't think it's going to be Kentucky. And that pretty much rounds out our Eastern Conference. Going up to the South, we're going to go with Arizona and whatever comes out, Wright State versus Bryant. Wright State, I believe, is favored on the money line in this one. However, I do like Bryant. I like Peter Kiss as a basketball player, a really talented player. Don't love him as a human being, but I'm going to go Bryant in that one. I do think they're going to come out on top in that one. So if you're betting, it might not be a bad team to pick. But however, Arizona's too good of a team. Arizona plays an incredible style of basketball. Fast pace will have you hustling back on defense every single time. Is really going to put the pedal to the metal the entire time. And it's just that they are the team to beat, I think, in this conference. They're going to be really hard to match from anybody's perspective, because I think Gonzaga can be matched. But I don't think Arizona typically can't be. It's going to take a really special team to beat Arizona. And I don't know who's going to do it. That being said, next round of things, I've been debating this one for a while. Seton Hall, TCU. I love TCU on defense. I think they have a lot of really good quad wins, and they played really well against quad one teams. Seton Hall did not play well in the Big East tournament. They have not played well in the second half of the season. However, TCU is a terrible three-point shooting team. And Seton Hall could definitely take advantage of that. It's not one of those 50-50 games. However, as a man of defense, I'm always going to go with a team that plays really well defense, really good defense. And I think TCU is probably top 5, top 10 defensive team in the country. I'm going to go with TCU here. I like how they played against really good teams throughout the year. Seton Hall has not played fantastic basketball as of late. I can see them winning this one, but I'm going to go with TCU in this situation. UAB, fantastic, was definitely the best team in their conference. Houston's a really interesting team to me. They come in as a 5 seed in this tournament. BPI has them ranked as 2 out of the entire country, so they're powering 2 out of the entire country, which is really interesting to me. This one's a coin flip to me. I don't think Houston's overly fantastic this year. I think UAB's played really well. However, mid-major versus a large program, wherever you want to go with this one, I would 100% support it. Again, this is one of the ones where I have 50-50 in all my brackets. And honestly, I'm going to pick the upset here just to make it a little bit more fun. I'm going to go with UAB over Houston in this one. And then going down here, Chattanooga versus Illinois. Illinois played pretty well this year. They have the fantastic big. And then Chattanooga's been all right. I'm going to go Illinois in this one. I just like them better. Obviously, a bigger program. Chattanooga has been up and down throughout the year. Coming as a 13 seed in this tournament. I like Illinois in this one. Kofi, I can't go against Kofi. I think he's at least going to bring him to the round of 32. Moving on from this one, Colorado State and Michigan. This one is interesting. Michigan has been terrible this year. They're one of those teams that probably shouldn't be in the tournament. I like a Wake Forest, a Texas A&M, a SMU in the tournament that didn't make it over in Michigan. However, Colorado State's played fantastic this year. Don't get me wrong. Great offensive team. Not fantastic on defense. And I think Michigan has the coaching, the size, and the veteran leadership to come out in this one. I'm going to go Michigan over Colorado State in this one. Hunter Dickinson is a fantastic player. Juwan Howard's been back for a couple of games now, through the tournament after that suspension. So I'm going to go Michigan in this one. I'm going to roll with them. Could see it going either way. However, I like the matchup here. I'm going to take Michigan. Next, we have Longwood, Tennessee. I'm going with Tennessee in this one. Tennessee's been red hot as of late, dominated the SEC tournament and came out on top. Was not fantastic throughout the year. However, their guard play has really improved. They've been excellent from the three-point line. Defensively, they've been locked down. I think the top 3 hottest teams coming into this conference, probably, I'm going to go with Tennessee. Arkansas is pretty good. I'm trying to think. Tennessee, let me look around a little bit here, was really hot. Virginia Tech's really hot, and Iowa. As I say, Virginia Tech, Iowa, and Tennessee are probably the top 3 hottest teams coming into this tournament. Where they're up on the upward trajectory. So that plays a big factor in how I pick teams. How they're playing towards the second half of the season is really important on how they develop. Moving on from there, obviously, Longwood's a solid team, but again, Tennessee's so hot. They played great so far. I got to go with them in this situation. So Ohio State versus Loyola Chicago. Ohio State's missing 3 of their starters. Loyola Chicago's on a run pretty much every year now as a lower seed. I just think it makes sense. Loyola Chicago brought everyone back from last year. I think this is a clear upset. I think this is one of the easiest upsets to pick throughout the entire thing. And who knows, I could be wrong, but again, this is one of the easier upsets I would choose because it just makes a lot of sense here. Loyola Chicago is always great in the tournament. Ohio State's down 3 starters. I like Loyola Chicago in this one. Moving on, Villanova, Delaware. There's going to be any upset in the first round. I'd probably say it's this game right here in terms of a 2 seed and a 15 seed. Got to go with my team here, though. I love the veteran leadership from Colin Gillespie and the boys, but it's going to be a tough game. The Blue Hens, they're kind of our neighbors. All the kids probably didn't get recruited to Villanova in the area. A lot of them go to Delaware. Going to be playing that game in Pittsburgh on Friday. Could be a tough game. I don't think we're going to really blow them out, but I do think we will come out on top. So that pretty much rounds out our southern region, going through the round of 64, and then going down in the Midwest. Obviously, it's going to pick up a little bit more as we finish the round of 64 less games. But coming out from here, Texas Southern doesn't stand a chance to Kansas at all. It's going to be a pretty big blowout. I think Kansas has a good mix of veterans, a good guard play. Obviously, Bill Self, great coach. This one's going to be a pretty good run. I think, honestly, I'll say this now, the Midwest is the easiest conference, I think, for a number 1 seed to go through. Kansas got pretty lucky draw here. That being said, moving on to the next game. Creighton versus San Diego State is going to be a really good one. Creighton has a high ceiling. They can play fantastic basketball. They can also play terrible basketball. They had a nice run through the Big East tournament. They get to the championship against Villanova. They shoot 5 to 10% pretty much throughout the game from the three-point line. Sloppy basketball. So they have potential to be really good. Decent three-point shooting team, great defense, pretty well-balanced team, good guard play. That being said, they're very inconsistent. San Diego State has statistically the best defense in the entire country. I'm going San Diego State in this one. Again, I trust defense over anything else, especially when it comes to tournaments, championships. I think defense is always going to be really important. So I'm going to go with San Diego State in this one. Could see Creighton upsetting it without a doubt, and I say upset as 8-9, but without a doubt, going to be a really close game. I'm taking San Diego State with a better defense. However, San Diego State, not great on offense. That's kind of their downfall. I'm taking the defensive team here. That being said, moving forward, Iowa, Richmond. Iowa, hottest team in basketball right now. They won that Big Ten tournament, making it look easy, playing nearly perfect basketball, fantastic on offense, playing really solid defense. I don't think there's any chance Richmond upsets them here, barring some miracle. Moving on from there, Providence, South Dakota State. Providence is a fraud. I'll say it here, even as a Villanova fan, I know the bias. Providence is statistically the luckiest. I don't know how they produce that metric. They are the luckiest team in college basketball. They did not play great against, I think, Quad 1 teams, in my opinion. Did not look great against Villanova. They pretty much won the Big East due to COVID cancellations. And South Dakota State, I think, is probably the best mid-major in this entire bracket. And I'm going to see them upsetting Providence in the first round. This is going to be a nice little upset here. South Dakota State's going to take this one by a small margin. Providence goes down as a 4 seed. I think they're probably the most overranked team in the entire country, maybe next to a Duke, because Duke did not play well towards the half end of the season. Going to the next game, Iowa State, not a fantastic team. LSU's a lot more talented. It's going to be tough, though, because obviously LSU just fired Wade Davis due to allegations of him having some sort of violations. Obviously, he's a pretty fantastic coach. I think they went the 3 seed and the 6 seed under him. LSU, really talented team. However, enough allegations kind of put them through the loop here. So I think LSU is going to win off strictly talent. However, I don't know how deep of a run they're going to make in the tournament due to not having a starting coach that they had throughout the entire season. Moving on from there, Wisconsin, Colgate. This one's going to be a pretty good one. I think Colgate's a fantastic and major team to come into this game. They're the 14 seed. I could see an upset here. However, Wisconsin has played fantastic. Obviously, with Johnny, they're really good. Guard as their the coach probably of the year, maybe. I'm taking Wisconsin in this one, especially I think the first 2 games are going to be played near Milwaukee, so they have that little home court advantage going on. I really like Wisconsin in that game, although it could be close. If there's an upset, there's a 14-3 upset beyond maybe Providence. I think that could be one there too. Moving now from here, USC Miami, going to be a really good one here. Again, this is a 50-50 toss-up game. I think I like USC in this one, strictly due to I like some of the matchups better. But again, 50-50, pick whatever you want in your bracket. I don't know where it's going to go. Last one here is another one where I think it could be a possible upset. You could see Jacksonville State beat Auburn in this one, but I think Auburn's been too good. However, I do think they peaked somewhere midway through the season, have not played their best basketball as of late. However, a lot better of a team than Jacksonville State. I don't really think this one's going to be an upset. I think if you're going to have the potential of a 215 upset, Villanova, Delaware, Auburn, Jacksonville State. That rounds out our round of 64. So moving on from there, going back up to the West, Gonzaga, Boise State. I don't think Boise State's had a chance against Gonzaga. Chet Green, Watson, Timmy, way too talented for them. Not really going to be much of a competition here. I think they'll roll them. UConn, Arkansas. I just love Sonago. I love RJ Cole. I'm going to pick the upset here for UConn. A little bit of a bias maybe because I've seen them play in person versus in Arkansas. I've only seen on tape. I just think UConn meshed up so well against Villanova. Obviously, they beat us in the game. I just love how they play. Again, could be biased that I saw them play, but this is my tournament pick, so bear with me here. Next round, Rutgers, Notre Dame versus Texas Tech. Again, as I said before, Texas Tech, fantastic defensive team. I really like them in this tournament. I'm picking them over Rutgers without a doubt. And again, I think Rutgers, because I think Rutgers is going to win that game, hasn't happened yet. By the time this is posted, maybe it has, maybe it's Notre Dame. Next, we have Tom Izzo, and we have Coach K going at it here. Duke's the better team. I think Duke's going to – Coach K's last game is not going to be to Tom Izzo. They're going to move on from here. Moving on from there, Baylor, North Carolina. I do think Baylor could be upset in this one. However, I think they're a lot more talented team. They're better on defense. They're more disciplined. I'm going to go with Baylor in this one, although potential upset alert in this game. This is where Baylor's run in the tournament comes in jeopardy. They win this one out. They're going to be by a lot. However, it's going to be a pretty tough game for them. I think they'll come out with it. Moving on from there, St. Mary's, UCLA. As I said, UCLA, fantastic team. A lot of veterans, brought back the entire team, have tournament experience. They're low seeded at a 4. They're going to take St. Mary's down without a doubt in my mind. I think they're going to be pretty good in this tournament. They're going to be one of those teams that makes a run as a 4 seed. And St. Mary's is going to be, not an easy. They're not going to steamroll them. But I think UCLA, they play at whatever they make their living off of making tough shots, which if St. Mary's slows the game down, that could potentially help UCLA because, again, they make tough shots and they play a slow game. It could be to the advantage of UCLA there. And either way, I think UCLA is too talented, too well coached to lose this game. Moving on from here, we have Purdue and Virginia Tech. Might break the bank here, but I'm going to go with Virginia Tech in this one. A, need some upsets in the bracket without a doubt. B, I think an 11 seed has made it to the Sweet 16, I think, a couple years in a row now, and you need an 11 seed. BPI has them as one of the highest ranked 11 seed. I think they are the highest chance of an 11 seed making the Sweet 16, so I really like them for that reason. They've played really well in the ACC tournament. Purdue, I don't think is fantastic on defense. Jaden Ivey will only take them so far. I don't think Purdue has enough veteran leadership as well as enough defense to make a large run in this tournament. I don't hate Purdue. Could easily see them making the Final Four. Don't think they're going to win the championship by any means. I don't think they'd make the Final Four either because let's say they do get past Virginia Tech. I don't see them, and I'm going to reveal my pick now. I don't see them getting past Kentucky. I think Kentucky is a fantastic team, really well balanced. I don't see them getting past Kentucky either way. So let's say they do make it past Virginia Tech. They're going to end their tournament run at Kentucky. That being said, moving on from there, going back up to the South, we have Arizona and we have TCU. Arizona steamrolls TCU, not going to be much of a competition. UAB, Illinois. Illinois is going to be too good. Again, can't knock down Kofi, especially against UAB. Michigan, Tennessee. This one's going to be a steamroll. Tennessee is going to win that one pretty handily. And then Loyola, Chicago versus Villanova. It's going to be a tough game. I think they play both really similar brands of basketball. And I forget whose YouTuber I might have seen this off of. He quoted as that. Was it Cole Adams? I think his name was. But, both Catholic schools play a slow style of really good offense. And I'm going to go with Villanova. I think we're a lot more of a talented team. And I think we're going to come on top on this one. We beat better than 10 seeds. Chicago is probably close to a Seton Hall, Creighton in terms of talent and how they play. We've beaten them pretty handily throughout the season, so I'm going to go with them. We beat teams like a UConn or a 5 seed, and we beat teams like Providence who are 4 seed. So I'm going to go with Villanova over Loyola in this one. Moving down, Kansas is too good for San Diego State. San Diego State's not going to be able to match them on offense. It's going to be that simple. Iowa's the hottest team in basketball right now. I'm going to go with Iowa over a really nice mid-major in South Dakota State. Moving down from there, LSU, Wisconsin. Got to go Wisconsin again. Better coaching, better veteran leadership. I think their offense relies a little bit too much on Johnny. But that being said, LSU doesn't have a coach right now, so can't really pick them going far. Auburn I like over USC. I think they're a lot more of a talented team. Decent matchup for them. So that pretty much rounds out my Sweet 16. Going back up to the West. Gonzaga, UConn. Going to go Gonzaga. A lot better of a team. All UConn has to really match them is Sonogo, and they got 2 bigs versus their 1, if not 3. I think Watson's pretty solid too. Don't think they stand much of a chance. Texas Tech, Duke. Going Duke in this one. Duke has not played really good basketball as of late, and I think Texas Tech's defense will help carry them into the Sweet 16 here. Moving on from here, UCLA over Baylor. Again, veteran leadership. I think Baylor is probably the worst 1 seed there is. Have not played great basketball here. I think UCLA is poised. They're ready. They just played a really tough game against Arizona in the Pac-12 championship. They lost it by a small margin. I really like them here. They're battle-tested. I think they're going to be a team that takes down Baylor. I'm here, Virginia Tech, Kentucky. Virginia Tech's going to come to an end right here. Kentucky's a lot better of a team, really balanced team. I really like them. So I got the 4 and the 2 right there on the left side of the bracket, as well as the 1 and the 3. Moving on to the South, we have Arizona, Illinois. I think Arizona's too good for Illinois. I don't think they're going to be able to stand a chance. Kofi's good. This entire Arizona team as a group is fantastic. The way that they play is really unmatched. The pace that they play is really hard to match. If this game happens, Tennessee, Villanova, been one of the best matchups, I think, in the tournament. Villanova we beat them by, I think, 18-19 earlier in the season. However, Tennessee's gotten a lot better since then. And I can see this one going either way. My logic tells me to go with Tennessee here. My heart tells me to go with Villanova. Going to go Villanova here, just because, again, we beat them by 18 earlier in the season. We both got better since then. It'd break my heart to pick Villanova. It would not pick Villanova over Tennessee in this one, so I kind of have to do it. That being said, I could easily see that one going to Tennessee. Don't get me wrong. I think Villanova is easily beatable. We don't really have the hierarchy athleticism of most teams do. We benefit from playing really smart, limiting our turnovers, being in the right position. And that's a lot of coaching through Jay Wright. However, there's nothing that really replaces that lack of athleticism. You really need it. As my battery's going to die soon. That being said, moving on from there, Kansas, Iowa. This one's going to be a really fantastic matchup. Don't know who's really going to come out on top here. It's going to be really tough to really decide who's going to be here because I think Kansas is a lot more of a talented team. Iowa's fantastically hot. Again, fantastic matchup. We go either way here. I'm going to go Kansas. I think they're the better team here. I think is where Iowa's lack of talent versus how they're playing and how informed they are kind of fails them. And then Wisconsin, Auburn here. This one's going to be really good. I think Auburn, if they can limit Johnny, would really be elite here and being able to take them down. I like Auburn in this one. Again, Auburn's, I think, sort of a weak 2 seed. But, again, I think both Kansas and Auburn really left out in the Midwest with having really weak opponents and opponents that really aren't in prime position to win the tourney this year. So that allows Kansas and Auburn to really make their way into the Elite 8. So going into the Elite 8 now, Gonzaga, Texas Tech. Gonzaga is going to be too much for them. Gonzaga, again, I just love Drew Timme. I love Mark Few. They just have a really talented group here. It's going to be too much for Texas Tech to handle on defense. And Gonzaga is going to make their way back into the Final Four yet again. Going here, we have UCLA, Kentucky. I couldn't tell you who's going to go here. But I'm going to tell you this. There's been a 4 seed, I think, in the past 2-3 tournaments. And strictly because of that, again, total toss-up here. I'm going to go UCLA. I think they're pretty much going to be better. They didn't do as better, I think, in the regular season. And they probably did, honestly. They did better in the regular season. And they're more primed for a tournament run this year. They got to the Final Four last year. I expect a Gonzaga UCLA Final Four rematch. Going over to the south side of things, we have Arizona Villanova. Really tough matchup here. And I'll say this: I I think either Arizona or Gonzaga is going to win this tournament. I think Arizona has a lot tougher of a route to get there than any other conference because I think Tennessee or Villanova is really good, whoever they wind up playing. Illinois is pretty good. TCU could match up well against them because defensively they may be able to. Gonzaga's got a tough time, but Gonzaga's so talented. I think their only matchup is going to be in the Elite Eight, as well as Arizona. I think their only really competition is going to be in the Elite Eight. When it comes to the Midwest, it's a free run. And in the East, Baylor's not great. So I think UCLA Kentucky is very likely. This one could be a complete toss-up either. It's really tough for me to pick going forward here. However, I think if Villanova or Tennessee, whatever one comes out, I think this game is more crucial than this game. Whatever team comes out of the Sweet 16 and plays Arizona and Arizona in the Elite Eight has the possibility to beat Villanova. Tennessee's been fantastic on defense with excellent three-point shooting. Villanova, if they get teams to play their style of basketball, I think they can take them down. Just for the sake of not having one seeds all over the place in the side of the bracket, I'm going to go with Villanova with the upset over Arizona. And I could easily being a Tennessee over Arizona, but I think 1 seed is going to fall, and because it's the way the bracket normally works. And I got to pick Villanova with the upset here. If Villanova can slow Arizona down and make them play a Villanova style of basketball, they can beat this team. However, Villanova struggles against athleticism, and Arizona has that. So I'm picking Villanova in this one for the sake of an upset. However, listen to my words. Arizona can easily take this one. If you have Arizona winning your bracket, don't take this as divine word. That being said, Villanova in the Final Four. Moving down here, Kansas-Auburn. I think it's an easy win for Kansas. A lot better of a team. Auburn peaked about mid-season. I think Kansas has the easiest run to the Final Four out of any number 1 seed in the conference. In the tourney rather. So that makes our Final Four: Gonzaga, UCLA, Villanova, Kansas. So 1 and a 4, a 2 and a 1. And going here, I'm going to pick Gonzaga over UCLA. I think they're too good. I don't think this is where UCLA comes to a halt. As good as they are as a group, as much veteran leadership as he had, Mark Few is too good of a coach. They have too much talent on that side of the ball, on that side of the team rather. And then going to the Final Four on the other side of things, we have Villanova, Kansas. I think Villanova's going to be outmatched. I think Kansas is too good in this one. And I think it's going to be Gonzaga, Kansas as our national championship. I think Kansas makes it there strictly because I got a really lucky draw with the Midwest. I don't think they're the best team. But again, with the draw that they have and the opponents that they have, they line up really well. And I think they'll be able to make a run going through that. And then for my national championship, as you guys could already tell going forward throughout this bracket with me, I'm going to go with the Gonzaga here. Again, I think it's Gonzaga or Arizona takes it. It really depends on how Arizona makes it through. If it's an Arizona-Gonzaga championship, I think that's the best championship we could have. I would love to see that. It would be a fantastic game. However, I think if you're going to make your brackets and you're putting in money into a pool, just know that there could be an upset in that Elite Eight with Arizona, Villanova, Arizona, Tennessee versus Gonzaga, who I think pretty much could be able to move through every team with ease. And that Kansas doesn't have much of a bump in the road. There's no excuse for Kansas not to make the Final Four because of the teams they have to play. That being said, if we're going to tiebreaker, Gonzaga scored 70 points in their loss last year. So Gonzaga averages about 88 points a game. So we're going to go 78 versus maybe a 72 for the tiebreaker. Gonzaga is my final champion. I think it's the year that they do it. They have the experience. They have the coaching. They have the NBA talent. They have the matchups. It's either Arizona or Gonzaga. Based upon, I think, Arizona having a really tough ride to the championship, if I'm going to put money into a pool, I'm going to pick Gonzaga Bulldogs to be the next national champions this year. Hope you guys enjoyed. It's going to be a fun March Madness. This is always so much fun. I can't wait for my bracket to get busted in the first game, which I think is Colorado State versus Michigan. Hope you guys enjoyed my picks. Leave your comments, questions, concerns, your guys' picks down below. See you guys around.